series of videos we're going to show you how to clean and repair Corgi ElectroRockets. Now, Corgi ElectroRockets were only manufactured between 1970 and 71, and they only made two models of a car, the Bizzarini Manta and the Alfa Romeo Montreal. The Manta was available in this metallic purple and gold. They did a limited edition one, which was a metallic purple with glow-in-the-dark windows. The Alfa Romeo Montreal was available in gold, or they did a metallic green Manta with gold windows. I don't actually have one of those, but I've got one here, or a body shell that I've resprayed to give you a sort of an idea. Now these rechargeable cars were issued to compete with Hot Wheels Sizzlers, and they ran on standard Corgi Rockets track. And you can buy these cars in several different ways. You could buy them individually in boxes like this, or alternatively, if you had some Corgi Rockets track already, you could go out and buy one of these, which was a car auto charger set, which included the charger and the car, obviously. As like Sizzlers, these recharged in 90 seconds, and they use exactly the same rechargeable battery as the Sizzlers, and also Matchbox Scorpions, which came out a little bit later. They also came out with a couple of racing sets. The first one was the Stunt Power set, which you can see in some of my other videos. They also brought out another set a bit later called the 88 Raceway, which is a dual lane racing set, which I don't actually have. And there was the mythological third set, which no one has ever seen, although some parts of I've seen have come out on eBay very occasionally, which was the Hoverport set. But we're not sure that was officially issued. They may have been pre-production parts that found their way into the market. These cars actually, although the Manta and the Montreal, they're actually two types of these cars. There's sort of a phase 1, phase 2 interior, which we'll just have a look at, and I'll open them up. These cars open up quite easily with just a screw underneath. You don't have to force them open like the Hot Wheels Sizzlers. Now, in order to identify the phase 1 and phase 2 cars, from the exterior they may look exactly the same superficially, but when you study these two cars, this is actually what we'll call a phase 1, which is the most obvious, and they both came in the Manta and the Alfa Romeo. This phase 1 car, as you see, just notice that the side the switch is on. It's on the UK passenger side, whereas this Alfa Romeo, you notice that the charging hole is on the passenger side. And if we turn them around, you see on the UK driver side we have the switch on the Alfa, and on this one we have the charging hole. If we look underneath, on this phase 1 version, you can see the motor casing here, and if we compare it with this one, you can see that the chassis has been completely redesigned. This motor here is the same as the Sizzlers motor. It's an open motor, it's not encased, and it's a lot larger and more powerful. I say these what we'll call phase 2 for the purpose of this video. They're not that common. I've got another one here which I'm going to do a video of to show you how to restore it. This one didn't need restoring, it ran straight away. And this is when we're looking at buying these cars, if you want to find one that's possibly going to be a runner, it seems to be the case that the condition of the exterior is quite a good indication of the condition of the interior. These two cars, as you can see, are fairly pristine. The interiors are pristine, and after a little bit of coaxing they both run straight away with a new power cell. And the same with this one, the glow in the dark one. This particular one, the previous owner back in the 70s had remembered to take out the power cell when it no longer decided to take a charge. So that sort of saved this one, and if you can find one in that condition where somebody has taken the power cell out, then you've got a pretty good chance the car's going to run. These ones, the power cell had been left in, but for some reason it hadn't actually leaked. So whether the power cell was faulty inside, it saved these cars. When we're looking at these to buy, the condition is probably more likely to be a bit more like this. As you can see, the paintwork has been stripped by the battery acid leaking inside, giving off fumes, which has stripped the chrome plating. And this, you see this, the chrome plating is still present on this one, and it's virtually disappeared on this one. So when we're buying this condition, it's always a bit of a risk as to whether we're going to have a chance of getting it running again. The most important thing to look at is the condition on these phase 1s, is the condition of the motor brushes. Looking on eBay or in toy fairs, it may be difficult to actually open these cars up to have a good look inside. So it's a good idea to have a look at the condition of the motor brushes here. As you can see on this one, which is a running version, the motor brushes, this little sort of arrangement of copper contacts here, is in very good condition. Whereas if we compare it with this one, you may not be able to see very well, but the actual brushes have completely corroded away. There's nothing there, and you can see this sort of furring around these rivet points here, which gives you an idea that the car condition is not good. The brushes are pretty corroded away, and to actually get this car to work, you'll be into rewinding brushes, which we'll talk about a bit later. Anyway, what we'll do first is we'll take these two apart, these pristine ones, just to compare the phase 1 and phase 2. So we'll take this phase 1 ElectroRocket apart. So it's just a simple single screw at the front. So this is what they should look like. See, it's all fairly clean. The brushes are all intact here and here. So if you find one like this, then it's probably a good chance that it's going to run straight away. So that was the phase 1. We'll look at this phase 2 version. Again, it's the same single screw underneath. Well, I hope you can see from this that the interior is completely different to the phase 1 version. We've got the larger Sizzler's motor in place. I'm guessing that this was probably a much later production version, and there don't seem to have been many made, but you can see they completely retooled the chassis to take this interior. This was only made with the Alfa Romeo Montreal body. I've not seen a phase 2 version with the Manta body. To try and sort of fit this Manta body onto this phase 2 chassis, it just doesn't fit, and obviously the charging hole is in a completely different side and the switch is a different side, so without butchering the whole thing to make it fit, it just won't fit. So if we just bear these two running examples in mind, I'm now going to open up the two cars we'll use as a basis for this video. We'll open this phase 1 up first. This is basically a non-runner, but we're going to, for the purpose of this video, we'll take it apart anyway, just to show you how we can take it apart and clean it up. So again, the screw comes out, and you can see it's in a bit of a sorry state inside. The battery's still in place. It's all completely gunged up with corrosion, and this car is not going anywhere. As I say, for the purpose of this video, we'll take this apart and clean it up, but in parallel to that I've got one here which I've actually repaired before, and it actually has been running, but not as I expected. It started to play up a little bit, so I'm going to take it apart just to see what's going on inside. So we'll take this one apart knowing that it won't work, but just as an exercise to see how you can do this from scratch. And also this one, which is basically, I'm just going to dismantle this motor. If you look at the phase 2 version, I've actually got a replacement motor for this one. The good thing about the phase 2s is that if the motor doesn't work, you can actually get replacement motors, whereas the phase 1 replacement motors I've never seen them. So I've actually taken the battery out of this one. There's a good chance this motor might be able to be cleaned up and run, but I've got some spare motors, so I shall probably transplant a new motor into this one when we get going with the restoration. Okay, so that gives you a little overview of the ElectroRockets cars. There aren't that many around, so they're just the two versions, the Manta and the Alfa Romeo Montreal. But look for the phase 1 and phase 2. If you can get the phase 2 with the Sizzler's motor, this is going to be much easier for you to get going, so you can get a replacement motor. The motors themselves are easier to fix, whereas these phase 1s are absolute devil, absolutely devil to take apart and to try and fix. Okay, that's on to the restoration of the phase 1 version.